Might seem crazy. Might seem crazy. You're going to hurt this afternoon. Talking this and that. Giving me this and that. All right, break that down. Diane, this has got to stop.
I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
I'll be fine. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The Golden Age. Number 7, Diane. Diane, just have that ready. Have it ready. The Golden Age, baby. It's the Golden Age, baby. That's right. The Golden Age. Welcome to the Golden Age. Oh, am I happy to be here? Are you happy to be here? If you're not, get the hell out. That's all I can tell you. If you're not, well, the haters are watching. I got to be careful because I have the people that study the program. I know you think it's crazy. Give me number 27, Diane. So we do have a Secretary of State. We're going to have some serious things happen today. Serious. Okay. Marco Rubio, 99-0. Nil, like a soccer score, nil, right? 99-0. Couldn't vote for himself. So total confirmation, you do have Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has gone from little Marco. He has gone from little Marco, and he's Cuban, right? Just saying. Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State of the US of A. Peter Hegseth's confirmation has come out of committee. Party line, 14-13. Now, I told you the other day, what happens? Diane asked this question. What happens is the committee hearings, they only make a recommendation to support the nominee. That's it. So it goes to committee. They have the hearing. They make a recommendation. Then there's a full vote. So today, on a serious note, look for some full votes or some things being pushed back. We will talk about it later in the show. They are pushing back on Tulsi Gabbard. They don't even have her. Scheduled. She's not even scheduled. There's a lot of talk around D.C. that she is the one. It's almost like they're telling Trump, you got to give us one. And it might be Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but watch that one. So Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. Homeland Security will go to a vote today. Hegseth will probably go to a vote today. Keep an eye on that one. But I do know confirmation hearings for Doug Collins. All right. I got a text message this morning telling me that Doug Collins' confirmation hearing for Secretary of Veterans Affairs will be this morning at 10 o'clock. So they'll be asking him questions. Now, he's another guy that's going to sail through, but his confirmation hearing for Veterans Affairs, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, former Georgia governor, former my representative, Doug Collins. And I'm sorry, I just can't even do this without saying I get all choked up thinking about what our veterans deserve, how our veterans should be treated, and how we have failed our veterans in many ways, knowing that Doug Collins will be the Secretary of Veteran Affairs. It's great. So there you go. Take that down. Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. Now, on a serious note, let's get serious. We'll talk about the pardons. let's remind America. Joe Biden looked at Americans and said no. Joe Biden looked at Americans. Now, before I get into the January 6th pardons, let's put some things on the table first. Joe Biden looked at Americans and said no on camera. Direct question, no misunderstanding it. Will you pardon your son, Hunter? No, I will not. He looked right at the American people. Now, they are stressed out over the January 6th. And I'm going to tell you the real reason they're stressed out. Not because Mandy and Chuck Hand from South Georgia and District 2 down there, amazing Americans. Chuck works every single day, construction superintendent. I mean, salt of the earth. Love these people. But enough on that. They're not upset because Chuck and Mandy Hand are clear now. Chuck and Mandy Hand go to the airport. They have to go through special screening that you and I don't. That's right. Yes, they get flagged, everything they do. That no longer happens. They're not upset about their pardon, and I'm going to tell you what they're upset about. Now, let me be clear. Joe Biden, all right, he lies to the American people. All right, he lies to the American people. Diane, I sent you a picture. I don't want it right now, but when I do, a viewer sent me that. All right, so we're gonna go through, and yes, before I go too much further, Melania was stunning yesterday. Absolutely beautiful lady, beautiful first lady. God bless America. She was stunning yesterday. So we have this number 6. We have the unconditional pardons. But Joe Biden yesterday actually admitted that his family is a crime family. Absolutely. It is a crime family. All right. Give me number 15. Biden issues preemptive pardons for January 6th committee. Crying Kinzinger or super crier, Liz Cheney, Mark Milley, treason as Joint Chief over at the Pentagon, Anthony Fauci. He does this yesterday. Or was it day before? When was it? We got it yesterday at 7:10. And then after that, he does. So this guy out front pardons these criminals. Now, the only thing they could say, and keep this in mind, I'm about to blow your mind on some stuff. You see, the only thing they could sit there in the office and say is, Trump was guilty of nothing. And look what he went through. All of these other people were guilty of nothing. And look what they went through. The Department of Justice tried to ruin their life. Seriously. Do you know how many people in the last 4 years from Joe Biden's Department of Justice, they're bankrupt, they have no money? Do you know how many people had to go into inheritance, future inheritance, call mom, call brothers, call sisters? This is not a joke. Look, I'm sorry, but can you help me out here and help me retain an attorney? Now, let's put all this on the table. The Biden administration, the Biden Department of Justice did and Trump knows that. He stated it yesterday. They did everything to bankrupt and destroy these people. They're sitting in there with Merrick Garland and all of them saying, look what we did. Look what we did. With no evidence. Look what we did creating our own evidence. Look what we did knowing we stole an election. Look what we did to these people. Just stop and think what they could do knowing we are the real criminals. Think about what we did to them. God knows what they could do when they find out that we're really the criminals. Well, we know that already, right? Oh, yes. Why preemptive pardons? Because they're all criminals. They're all crooks. Bottom line. As we go through, number 18, Biden pardons 5 members of his family in final minutes of the office. 5 members of his family. Why? They're criminals. Criminals. Absolute criminals. Now, people are saying that, well, he forgot to pardon himself. I don't think he forgot to pardon himself. I think he feels very strong that the Supreme Court's ruling on immunity will cover him. I think so. I think that's the counsel he received. So look at this, 5 family members that he pardoned, knowing they're criminals. Now, he did not pardon any journalists. There's several people he didn't pardon. We'll go into that later. But number 19, Biden's statement on preemptive pardons. Now, we're going to get into this because the January 6th, I'm going to tell you why they're exploding this morning. Biden's statement on preemptive pardons for members of his family. The issuance of these pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement that they engaged in any wrongdoing. So, Joe, what you're saying is everybody that was on the January 6th committee, you don't want to risk their lives being ruined or destroyed, financially bankrupt, or even the facts coming out and them going to prison, like you did to others. Is that what you're saying? What you're saying is, Mark Milley, you don't want the first Joint Chief of Staff. You want Donald Trump to be convicted, put in jail. But Mark Milley, you got to remember, they wanted Donald Trump in jail, but these people are too good to be investigated. These people are a notch above. These people don't deserve to go to jail. But Donald Trump, this morning in America, if they had their way, Donald J. Trump would be in prison, folks. What you saw yesterday would be all a mirage. Maybe it is, Diane, double check. It would be all a mirage. He'd be in prison. They did everything. So, nor should acceptance of be misconstrued as an admission of guilt. Number 20, my family has been subjected to unrelenting attacks and threats, motivated solely by a desire to hurt me. The worst kind of partisan politics. Unfortunately, I have no reason to believe these attacks will end. That is why I'm exercising my power under the Constitution to pardon James B. Biden. Everybody that could be, what do they call that? Where you have to go and do a deposition, right? Is that what it's called? Everybody that could be called and asked if Joe Biden was the big guy. Everybody that could be asked, did you have to kick up 10% to the big guy? Everyone that could be asked, did they put things in your name or did they funnel money through you so not to see Joe Biden get it? Every one of them. They could be asked that question and more. That is why I'm exercising my power under the Constitution to pardon James B. Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, and Francis W. Biden. Well, the big guy did it again. Absolute corruption, crooks, crime family. So the pardons, all right? Now keep this in mind. They're going nuts over the 1,600 pardons, but I'm going to explain that because I'm going to explain why they're truly losing their, you know what, SHI asterisk. So I wrote this down somewhere. Do I need glasses or not? Let's see. Preemptive pardons. Remember the 1,600 that they are blowed out of the water that Trump pardoned attended Washington, D.C. rally, went to the Capitol, some went in, but always remember the agitators, as Trump said, the agitators in the crowd. And don't forget, you're not there if this doesn't happen. Give me video 7.
Another speech to supporters who weren't inside the Capitol Rotunda. And this time, Trump aired grievances and attacked his political rivals, saying these are the remarks he was advised to leave out of that first speech.
2020, by the way, that election was totally rigged, but that's okay. It was a rigged election. You know, the only thing good about it showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event if that would have gone like it should have.
The president's inaugural parade was held inside.
You got to remember, they don't rig and steal a 2020 election. You're not up there upset. Right? So, that being said, keep in mind the whole pardons. Joe has pardoned pedophiles. Yes. Joe has pardoned murderers. He has pardoned a whole slew of murderers, bad people, pedophiles, disgusting people. Joe has pardoned a whole list of some of the scariest people that should never be out of prison. The other thing I want you to keep in mind, Donald Trump never said they're going after Pam Bondi. They're going after J.D. Vance. Donald Trump never said, I won't pardon them. Donald Trump never said that. Joe Biden looked at the camera and said, no, I will not pardon Hunter. Donald Trump never looked at the camera and said, no, I will not pardon these people. Now, what has them all upset? Because let's go with one thing at a time, the Department of Justice. You and I know the Department of Justice, the FBI, we know it needs burned to the ground, actually, and built back up. Now, in the FBI, we do know there's field agents, and I've met some across the country that are good people. We know that. But in the Department of Justice, we need to clean house, and I mean clean house. And Pam Bondi needs to come in there and get rid of all the legacy attorneys in those cubicles that have gone nowhere for years. And how do you do that? You pardon all of the people from J6. And let me go with this. Give me right now. You pardon them. Well, what does that mean? How does a pardon, right, help your cause? So let me get to this. I just wanted them this morning. Oh, yesterday, when Trump was doing everything, CNN, give me number 29. CNN was, they're putting up, if Mark Zuckerberg won't fact check, X won't fact check, if these people are stopping their fact-checking program, CNN will step in. So yesterday, if you wanted to fact-check and analyze, analysts available at CNN.com. You can go there to fact-check Trump. All right, just thought you would, I don't want to say enjoy that. I wanted to see this morning, number 30. I had to hear them say it, and I'll play it later. Minka was so stunned, her eyes were wide open, and well, that's all I could say. Her eyes were wide open. And then And then I wanted to have to see them talk about this number 33. So Trump pardons January 6th defendants. All right. What is the whole freak out? Is that what we'll call it? Let's see if I have anything else here on January 6th. Diane, I want to see if I have something else. The Diet Coke bottle button is back, apparently. I have that one. Let's see. We're going to go through all the executive orders. We're going to go through all of them and highlight the ones. Diane, I'm going to want number 78 in a moment. So let me go with this one first of all. Number 80. This is Department of Justice, also CIA. I absolutely love this one. This is part of the clip here I want to get in before we close up. John Bolton of Classified Information and National Security Advisor John R. Bolton published a memoir of monetary gain after he was terminated from the White House. This book was rife with sensitive information drawn from his time in government. It's reckless. To remedy these abuses of public trust, this order directs the revocation of any active or current security clearances held by the former intelligence officer who engaged in misleading, inappropriate political. Bolton, you're out of here. Bolton, he cleaned your clock. Also, we got an executive order on the 51 spies who lied to pull their security clearances. So let's see, make sure I'm not missing anything else. Could you go back to the Joe and Minka so I can explain the actual pardon freak out and why they're doing it so I can close this segment? All right. Now, let's see. Give me video. Wait a minute. Yeah, give me video 9. Now, wait a minute. I don't want that yet. I'm sorry. The Department of Justice, we need to clean out. We know that. We got Kash Patel coming in. We got Pam Bondi. How do you clean out the Department of Justice? You pardon 1,600. Now, keep in mind, these attorneys. Well, let's go ahead with video 9. I'm sorry. Video 9, Diane.
January 6th, these are the hostages, approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. They're expecting it. Approximately 1,500 people. Six commutations.
Were there any cases you did not commute or pardon of people?
We're looking at different things, but the commutations would be the ones that we'll take a look, and maybe it'll stay that way, or it'll go to in a full pardon.
That was President Trump last night in the Oval Office announcing pardons for people connected with the January 6th Capitol attack. That is despite previously saying he would consider pardons and commutations on a case-by-case basis, and hearing condemnations from his Vice President, J.D. Vance, and his nominee for Attorney General, Pam Bondi, of those who committed violent acts. Also ahead,
He considered it. He never said no. It was J.D. Vance that played the circle. It was Mike Johnson that played the circle. It was Pam Bondi the other day. Pam Bondi said, I haven't read the cases. I don't have the files. Right? So the bottom line is, he didn't say that. He considered it. It's done. They're freaking out. The attack. But here's the real reason. Instead of investigating gangs, instead of trying to do the work they should be doing, give me video 12.
Let's remember, of course, this is the largest criminal investigation in the history of the Department of Justice. One has to wonder what happens now to the career officials in DOJ and attorneys' offices, U.S. attorneys' offices, whether they will stay in place after this. Some of these people, there were parties last night at the D.C. jail. There were hopes that people would get out in time to attend some of the inauguration events last night. This is what Trump's base wanted, and this was what he delivered. And
let's consider this is the largest investigation in the history of the Department of Justice. Largest. Not anything else in America. This was the largest, and what they're unsure of is where this will leave career bureaucrats this morning in the Department of Justice. You see, the pardon is a win-win-win. Trump is brilliant. That's why that got done yesterday. He's clearing the way. Yet it's the largest. Keep that in mind in history. Now, here is going to be the win-win and why Trump made this happen yesterday, clearing the way. Because Pam Bondi is going to be, the committee is going to put her out for a vote. And it's going to be tough for Republicans to turn her down. She should be. If I'm thinking correctly, today is what? What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Trash day. If I'm thinking correctly, probably about Thursday, hopefully, Pam Bondi will be the Attorney General. So here is the final, before I go to break, this will close it up and it will explain, okay, this will explain Jay Johnston, video 13. Pay attention to this.
Be what the impact will be. For each one of those 1,600 cases, there's a federal prosecutor assigned, dedicated to the case, who's feeling pretty disenchanted this morning. I would not be surprised if we saw a mass resignation from the Department of Justice as a result of this. Going back to this issue of the executive orders.
That's probably
that's what
some would argue. Some would say that's exactly
probably what
the Trump administration wants.
And the administration would want, yeah. Well, somebody's got to prosecute violent crime in this country. Or somebody's got to prosecute organized crime in this country. Somebody's got to prosecute terrorism in this country. Somebody's got to prosecute, bank fraud in this country. Let's not forget that.
Okay, let's not forget someone has to prosecute organized crime. Someone has to prosecute violent crime. Someone has to prosecute terrorism in this country. Obviously they forgot that. They forgot that because, as he said, and Jay Johnston knows, the impact, each case had a dedicated, wow. Each case had a dedicated member of the Department of Justice assigned to it. Ooh, wow. But let's not forget, someone has to prosecute organized crime. Someone has to prosecute violent crime. Someone has to prosecute terrorism. Yes, the FBI, through the Department of Justice, as you're talking about, the FBI took all their time investigating Mandy and Chuck Hand. The FBI took all their time and investigated and built these cases. You do realize who built these cases for the DOJ? Our FBI. So let's remember, I can't say that enough. Someone has to. Well, it will now. And the impact, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw mass resignations this morning over the DOJ. Mass resignations. That's right. Get your stuff and get out. Clean out your desk. So, Donald Trump pardoned 1,600 people that would have never or 1,500 and 300 commutations or whatever. He mass pardoned these people that would have never been at the Capitol on January 6th if they would not have stolen an election. 1. 2, okay, he has Pam Bondi going in. They're going to clean house at the Department of Justice. Kash Patel is going to clean house at the FBI. And my only concern is who stays behind. Now, the deep state, let me say this and get out. The deep state is talking to some of the career DOJ attorneys. They're talking to some people in there and want to leave them behind as plants. Yes, as plants, as spies. So that's a concern. So here you go. Bottom line is Donald Trump is cleaning out the DOJ. He's going to clean out the FBI. Christopher Wray is gone. Kash Patel is going to be in. Pam Bondi is going to be in. Bottom line. Now, they think that this might be a way to stop Kash Patel's confirmation. The pardons. Give me number 78, the Golden Age. I like that one, Diane. I like 78, the Golden Age. Now, when we come back, the southern border is closed. I don't know if I can keep up with everything moving so fast. I told you yesterday. Diane, you got that picture that was sent to me this morning? You view. I don't know what to do with you people. I don't know what to do with you people. That's Pat. Remember Pat? So Pat's showing up for work this morning. First of all, Pat's upset that his pronouns or her pronouns are he, she. So the he, she is showing up this morning. You know who's not showing up? You know who's not in an office this morning? Richard Levine. Richard. Not Rachel, Richard. Sorry about that. But Pat is showing up. And the supervisor says, "What are you?" I got that whole two genders thing. Take a break.